Hi. Now, since it's a really nice day out today, I thought it would be interesting to sort of give you a quick tutorial on how I make my camouflage. It's super easy, not very expensive, and also can be a little messy if you don't know what you're doing. But, you know, it doesn't take very long to get it. This is the kind of dye that I like to use. I just get it in these little bottles. It's just filled up to here with powder, and then you fill it with water to get it to mix. And of course, you should probably try shaking it to really get it to mix right. Because you don't want it to come out grainy. I'm not sure it would, but you know, better safe than sorry. And you kind of want the best you can get. And plus, this kind is easier to work with as opposed to the kind you get in other like cans or bottles or something where you have to use a washing machine. If you don't have the right type of washing machine, just use this. And it's especially handy since with a camouflage pattern you don't have to cover the entire garment. You just need to sort of splotch it unevenly, because that's what camouflage is. It's easier to put these kind of plastic gloves on when your hands are dry, so you know, make sure your hands are dry and not super damp when you try and put them on, because otherwise they stick. This is the shirt that I'm going to use. It's charcoal gray, and it's just going to mix with the green and blend in with camouflage. Now with this kind of dye, you gotta get this really wet. You gotta get this to soak, because when it's dry, then it's harder for the dyed water to soak into it. So if you get this wet first and then lay it out, it'll be a lot easier for the dye to spread through the cloth. And it's cotton, if you can't tell, which is the best material to use for this. Okay, so now the shirt is dripping wet, and so it'll be easier for the dye to sink in. So basically you just gotta sort of go at it, you know, go crazy. Because camouflage is a very random and uneven pattern. So it's not like it's supposed to be neat. It's just supposed to be effective. And with this, you want to try and use up the whole bottle. If you've got plenty left over, then just squirt it again, or flip the shirt over, because odds are on the other side there will be some bigger spots of gray. Yep, see that? So just keep squirting until you run out. Green and gray seem to be the best colors for camouflage, because at least this shade of gray, the green really seems to blend in. With my other camouflage shirt that I made like this, I added brown, but the green blends into the gray a lot better than the brown does. Okay, that's the last of it. After you dye it, what you do is you fold it up as tightly as you can. And cover it in plastic. You want it to be tight, so that way the water can't evaporate. And you gotta let that sit for 6 to 8 hours. I might actually need more plastic. I might just put this in a giant Ziploc bag. Okay, I think the biggest mistake you can make with making camouflage is letting it sit to dry instead of hanging it up like you're supposed to. Because last night I put the shirt on the piece of cardboard, just letting it sit there all night, and when I got up in the morning to rinse it again to get off the excess dye off, it wasn't any drier than it was 10 hours ago. So if you don't hang it up, it's just going to sit there and soak in its own water. And so you have to hang it up. And otherwise it's not going to get dry. And so now it is hanging as it has been for the last few hours, and it's still not dry yet. So let this be a lesson for if you're making camouflage to hang it up when you want it to dry. If you just let it sit, nothing's going to happen. It's just going to waste your time. It's still a little damp right now, but honestly, I think I've waited long enough. To get the dye to settle when it's dry, or more or less dry in this case, what you do is you set your dryer to high for a half hour. And obviously you want to make sure there aren't any other garments in there, just in case there is still just a little bit of excess dye left. This is how it turned out. Now it blends together pretty well, so at some angles or distances it looks like it's a single solid color. But the interesting thing about it is the way it's blended together. Sometimes it looks gray and sometimes it looks green. So this should definitely work. And if you're doing this and you end up making it like that, like it blends together so well, and you're still not quite satisfied with it and you want to add another color, just add some brown or black to it and just go through that same cycle again with soaking the shirt, dyeing it, wrapping it up and letting it sit, etc., etc., until you are satisfied. So I hope you've enjoyed this little camouflage making lesson, and hopefully we'll see you next time on Beorn's 10. Okay, biggest mistake I've ever made with making camouflage. Jeans. For some reason, this is the shirt that I'm going to use. It's a charcoal green, not green, charcoal. This is so awkward. This does not sound right.